Cartels used to recruit grown men, ex-soldiers, but now they go for boys. It's a job for kids who have the street in their blood, who've grown up with violence.
The policy of targeting drug bosses proved effective in Colombia with the capture of the notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar, whose cartel, at its most powerful in the 1980s and early 90s, supplied most of the cocaine reaching the United States. Last year was the most violent on record, with over 32,000 murders. And this hasn't gone unnoticed.
In today's generation, social media has proven to be a very fruitful business, which is why most people would not hesitate to humiliate themselves or go as far as risking their lives for interaction and views. Here are social media influencers who messed with the wrong cartels. Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales, also known as El Pirata de Culiacán, meaning the pirate of Culiacán, was a Mexican influencer who gained fame from being an alcoholic teen. Born in Sinaloa, Mexico, Rosales' childhood was marked with hardships. His father's absence and his mother's schedule left him in the care of his grandmother, who could only do so much. Interestingly, his hometown was not far from the hometown of the infamous drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. However, Rosales stayed away from drugs until he dropped out of high school to pursue a better life in Culiacán. Upon arriving in Culiacán, Rosales took on various low-paying jobs to sustain himself. Simultaneously, Rosales developed a very unhealthy drinking habit. Even though he was underage, he often would drink to excess. Unfortunately, this drinking habit of his was affecting his work performance, causing him to lose his job. In spite of being underage, Rosales started a YouTube channel that portrayed him chugging down unhealthy amounts of whiskey and beer on a daily basis. While weird and unconventional, these videos garnered unexpectedly massive amounts of views, subscribers, and reactions. Unfortunately, his excessive amount of drinking wasn't what earned him his viewers and subscribers, but the hilarious rants he went on while intoxicated. His Facebook page had over 1 million subscribers, while his Instagram had over 300,000 followers. Remarkably, his D-list fame led to appearances in music videos and television shows. His fame gave him an ego, and he started posting more provocative content. At 17, Rosales was posing with guns, older women in skimpy clothes, and stacks upon stacks of cash. This caught the attention of older generations, and not in a good way. Beto Sierra, a social media marketing expert, reached out to Rosales to help him monetize his newfound fame. He advised him to start selling merch, drink less, and invest in a music career. He even got Rosales to join TikTok. While Rosales took all his advice and was heading the right direction in his career, Rosales still had one strong vice. He was still a drunken, loud-mouthed teenager with a camera and an audience. He would mouth off to anyone without fear, and some of them were very powerful and dangerous people. During one of his drunken rants, he provoked the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel of Mexico, the CJNG, called El Mencho, and said, "El Mencho, peel my dick." El Mencho, also known as Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, is a notorious Mexican drug lord and leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, an organized crime-based group in Mexico. He was born on the 17th of July, 1966, to a poor farming family in Mexico with 6 children. At an early age, El Mencho had big dreams of pulling himself out of the poverty he was born into. He started life as a petty criminal when he was 14 and officially joined a Hispanic gang when he moved to Texas. He was later deported back to Mexico for gang-related crimes. He swiftly joined the Milenio Cartel in Mexico as an assassin. He then subsequently joined a fragmentation of another cartel, climbed up the ranks before eventually starting his cartel, the aptly named Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, translated in English as the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. When they just started, police officers dismissed them as a small fragment of other cartels. But after they killed 35 members of an enemy group and numerous police officials, the police finally started taking them seriously. By 2009, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel had military-structured soldiers equipped with their own military-style weapons. They were bad, they were structured, they were well-equipped, they were connected, and they were to be taken very seriously. Somehow, this drunken teen thought he could taunt and provoke their leader and get away without repercussion. In response to Rosales' blatant disrespect of their leader, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel were gracious enough to give him a warning to never set foot in Jalisco if he wanted to stay alive. What does Rosales do? He hosts a party in a bar in Jalisco and publicly invites anyone who chose to join him. True to their words, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel's soldiers joined the party and turned it into a bloodbath. December 18, 2017, armed men stormed the bar where Rosales was partying and shot him 18 times, killing him almost instantly. The numerous injuries he sustained made it difficult for anyone to identify his body. He was later identified by the tattoos on arm. No arrest has been made in Rosales' case. El Chanito de Culiacán. This one had a death wish. I can't be convinced otherwise. Chanito is another Mexican teen who desperately wanted his big break as an influencer. While most saw Rosales' death as a clear warning, he saw an opportunity. In a viral video, Chanito, along with a small child whose face was thankfully covered, insulted and cursed El Mencho. He also made fun of Rosales for consuming alcohol for internet fame. Chanito ran back to the internet to apologize to the members of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel in a tearful apology, citing mental health as an excuse for his poor judgment. He then disappeared from social media for days, causing many to speculate that he had been murdered. These speculations were later confirmed when a girl's Reddit video showed Chanito being beheaded by a Sicario soldier of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. The video was immediately taken down for its graphic content, but the message had been passed. Do not mess with El Mencho. Lesley-Ann Pamela Montenegro. Lesley-Ann was a Mexican influencer who gained fame through YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Known by her online persona, Nana Pelucas, Montenegro engaged in comedy, makeup, lifestyle influencing, and would sometimes share her political views. Her online presence took a unique twist when she adopted the persona of a lady, donning an afro wig, red lipstick, and big glasses. She would go to public places and ask random people trivial questions for her TikToks. As her fan base and following grew, Montenegro's content shifted focus from her regular content to focus more on corrupted government officials within the Mexican government. She won't outrightly name the official, but would use humor to hint at who they are and make it clear enough that all her viewers know who she is talking about. Now, while freedom of speech can protect people like Montenegro under the law, it can't protect her from criminal cartels. Things took a turn for her when she started digging into the secrets of a very secretive Mexican cartel named the Independent Cartel of Acapulco. This group had played a huge role in the multiple homicides that happened in Acapulco and were one of the smaller groups that went operating in the area. Montenegro's revelations of the independent cartel's secrets exposed her to death threats and accusations of working with rival cartels to expose them. In response, Montenegro vehemently denied these allegations and swore she had no connections with any other cartels. However, she wouldn't remain silent about their secret transactions, so they had to silence her permanently. February 5, 2018, two men entered into her bar during her night shift and ordered beers before mercilessly gunning her down. She received 3 gunshots to her upper body, ending her life immediately. Fortunately, Mexican authorities managed to apprehend one of the gunmen named El Pipas. The subsequent trial, however, took everyone by surprise when El Pipas was acquitted of all charges by the presiding judge, in spite of the overwhelming evidence against him. Ironically, this is exactly what Lesley-Ann spent her life fighting against. She quite literally died fighting corruption, but couldn't get justice. Sabrina Duran Montero. This story reminds me of the saying, "Those who live by the sword shall die by the sword." Duran was a Chilean TikToker who rose to fame from bragging about being a narco queen. The journey to Montero's demise began back in May 2022, when a massive investigation led by the police of Chile, also known as the PD, resulted in the arrest of Montero and her brothers for their involvement in drug-related crimes operating in the city of Pinaflores. Before becoming a TikToker, Montero headed a drug organization which focused on drug collection, distribution, and sales. The problem was, her organization was at war with another prominent drug organization in the small city of Las Praderas. This made life for the residents of Las Praderas fearful and uncomfortable. It in turn caused the Chilean government to launch an onslaught on these criminal organizations, deploying 100 detectives to conduct a raid on every corner, every street, and every home in Las Praderas. Consequently, Montero was arrested while trying to jump out the back window of her hideout. She was charged with crimes relating to narcotics distribution and given a 3-year sentence. During her time in prison, Montero somehow smuggled in a phone and started a TikTok with the username Katrina Guzman. Montero somehow managed to amass a following of over 600,000. She teased her viewers with dances and even nicknamed herself the Narco Queen. After a botched attempt to escape, Montero poured all of her energy into her TikTok followers. She was eventually released, but had become more addicted to TikTok than drugs, and would share secrets of the drug world with her followers. This was much to the displeasure of her criminal colleagues, who wanted their secrets kept quiet, and the police, who didn't appreciate that she was glorifying being a criminal and encouraging her thousands of followers to be criminals. On the day of her death, Montero was on her way to the nail salon when 3 sicarios stopped her, dragged her out of her car, and shot her 8 times. They then drove her car to another location and set it on fire. Before the ambulance could get there, the narco queen had lost too much blood and died before they could get her to the hospital. A bystander managed to capture what happened on video. As of now, no arrests have been made in the murder, and the Chilean police claim they can't identify a motive. Mohit Moore. May 24, 2019, popular Indian TikToker Mohit Moore was sitting in a photocopy shop scrolling through his smartphone when 2 men wearing helmets barged in and unloaded dozens of bullets on him. This tragic incident was caused by 2 factors: Moore's TikTok fame and his relation to one of India's most ruthless gangs. At 27, Moore was a gym instructor in the small town of Najafgarh in Delhi. He started a TikTok to flaunt his bulging biceps in all his daisy glory, lip-syncing to popular Indian songs, making dramatic and funny skits, and just being a bad boy with a good heart earned him a record-breaking TikTok following with over 500,000 followers within 5 months. Sadly for Moore, the Indian government banned TikTok in India in April of 2019. The ban was quickly lifted, and Moore went back to his cool online persona, recapturing his viewers' hearts by reenacting scenes from different movies with the emotions of Salman Khan, the swag of Shah Rukh Khan, and the comedy of Akshay Kumar. Life for this fast-growing TikToker was going great until he helped his friend invest 30 lakh rupees into property through a criminal property broker named Mangu. Mangu had a chain of legit businesses, but underground he was a crime lord with several enemies, one of whom was a drug lord named Dalal. Out of spite, Dalal ordered the assassination of Mangu, putting an end to his businesses. What Dalal didn't know was Mangu wasn't the real head of the organization. It was another man named Helwani. After Mangu's death, Helwani had no choice but to emerge and take over all his properties. Helwani then went after everyone who owed Mangu, including Mohit, demanding the payment for the property he bought from Mangu. Mohit refused to pay up, saying his deal was with Mangu and wouldn't give a dime to anyone who isn't Mangu, even though he and his friend were living in the property. Feeling insulted and disrespected, Helwani ordered the murder of Moore. One of the killers was a teenager who kept on pestering Helwani to take him under his wing. He sent the teen along with one of his loyal soldiers to prove his loyalty. They went and emptied dozens of bullets into Moore, leaving a gory scene for police. The killers were later apprehended while Helwani fled Delhi. Unfortunately, most of these people lost their lives due to stubbornness. Meanwhile, the likes of Rodolfo Marquez and Uristi Azucena got off with a warning: stay away from trouble and let sleeping dogs lie.